Hello, thanks for spending some downtime with me. I assembled this terrain. So I'll talk about the terrain in this video and I'll talk about the figures, the wargaming figures in the next video. So some of this is WarHammer stuff, some of this is 3D printed materials. So on the front, closest to me, you have some Sanctum or Sanctus WarHammer figures, including these big mechanical statue guys, and then there's some scatter terrain that's associated with that set. I haven't built it all, but most of it is just the same as that. Back there, that black, so I'll talk about that, what that is in a minute. Most of it is that, so I didn't assemble it. Then there's some 3D printed structures that are coming up like a big tentacle. And there's some pus releasing objects with thorns coming out the side. I'm talking about these in generic terms too. Not so much as WarHammer. And then 3D printed materials, these things that look like gas releasing structures, right, coming up out of the ground. And then there's some alien plants that are in there. And then that object there and that object there in the center of the screen, and these objects here are part of the Death Row Forest set. And there's some craters that were 3D printed and some mountainous structures that were 3D printed. There's another look at the plants, and these plants. And then there's some stuff from the 10th edition large set, that, not Leviathan, but the set that came with terrain. That terrain's actually from Necromunda. I'm sorry, not from Necromunda, from Nakmund. And then there's some guns that I created out of 3D printed, just like you buy a whole box for like 20 bucks of stuff, and then I assembled those out of the parts, those guns. And then there's some Frontieris stuff. And that actually, that gray thing came with the starter set. So not Moon stuff, but it looks kind of, it's kind of a mixture between Mechanicus and Nakmund. And there's another Frontieris structure right there. And there's another Frontieris structure. And this terrain came with that same starter set. Okay, looks very similar to the runes over there that are black. There's some more of it there. And I'll go around the other side, although the light's better on this side. There's some cargo canisters and boxes and barrels from the Mechanicus set. I believe I have it right. There's some Necromunda walls and some walls from the Frontieris set over there far away, and some joiners that I haven't used yet. Okay, let's go around, give you a large view of this from this angle. Now come around the other side. Okay, there's a crashed ship. So this story is going to be similar to the 3rd edition big box that came with WarHammer 40K. There's runes from the Chalnath set, right there. A Kill Team release. some craters that were 3D printed, as well as over there, I forgot to mention. These are 3D printed, like antennae structures that I got 3D printed. There's some rubble from Necromunda there. There's some walls that came with that 40K starter set, as well as this structure right here. Some more walls from Frontieris. Mostly dangerous terrain. Including like those walls with spikes on the top. So you're going to roll a dice if you decide to go over it instead of around it. There's that Necromunda stuff and the Frontieris stuff from another angle. And then there's also some of that 40K starter set stuff. So let's take a view. Oh, there's some 3D printed pipes over there, little pipes. I'm just trying to use. And that's what I have at least primed. Some of the stuff is painted, probably not to completeness. But that's the set. So the ship has crash landed and they need to be rescued. Just to give you kind of a heads up as to what's going to happen if you watch the video where I talk about the figures. So this thing is 4 by 9 foot, I believe. And I'll also take a view of the whole thing from the other angle. Although the light won't be as good. And I can't really get back far enough to show you all of it at once, so I have to pan. Thank you for spending some downtime with me. I appreciate it.